Coming up on a Get Loud podcast presented by SeatGeek, we're going to go through the draft in the NFC East.
Yep.
We got a special guest coming on, a rookie report on Mikey Sainristil.
Tell us about our guy.
How you doing, everyone? It is the Get Loud podcast presented by SeatGeek, the official ticketing partner of the Washington Commanders. That's Smoot. I'm Jinx. What's up, man?
I'm just ready to get loud.
Are you ready to get loud?
Hey, quiet mouths don't get fed. All right, that's what I was always told. Hey, if a baby wants some food, what he do? He cries. All right, quiet mouth doesn't get fed in America.
So normally we're here on a Monday.
Yep.
A little bit later in the week. What are you doing this weekend?
Well, you know what? It's Memorial Day weekend.
On weekend.
You know, I like to really show my love to the military because, you know, that's where all my charities go to is the military. Every time I see anybody that served, I always tell them thank you.
Absolutely.
And I tell them thank you, not for just going out there and putting your life on the line, but thank you for giving me the ability to hang out at bars and have a normal life. Thank you, all right, for giving me the ability to go to the waterfront and drink everything they got over there. Thank you for giving me the ability to go to my daughter's basketball game. These are the small things I think we need to just calm down sometime and really thank people. You are the real heroes.
No doubt about that. I'm going to Annapolis this weekend with the girls.
Oh, so you're going to the military time.
I'm going to be right there next to the Naval Academy, so it'll be cool to be around people that serve our country on a weekend where they deserve to be honored, which is honestly every weekend.
Yeah, I got you.
Well, when you talk about respect, few players in the NFL
got more than me.
Than you.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that.
You and Tom Brady.
Just me and Tom?
You and Tom.
All right, I got you.
So there was a rookie symposium out in L.A. a few days ago, and it was Tom and it was Jay-Z.
Yeah.
And they were giving rookies advice, particularly Tom, who was saying, listen, what you have to do is, and I thought this was pretty prescient, where he said, I treated every day, and I believe him.
Yeah.
Like every practice like it was huge. And I did this for 20 years, so whenever I got to the Super Bowl, it was just another day for me.
It just was another game.
Yeah.
And I understand him like that because one thing Coach Gibbs said he loved about me was I just love to practice, man. And most players,
not every guy does.
No, I'm going to say most players dread practice because they feel like the reward ain't there. And I'm just happy to be here. Not only am I happy to be here, I asked Dale Green when I first got here as a rookie, man, how do you maintain this level of play? He said practice got to be as hard as the game. So, therefore, you get in the game becomes routine. It becomes easy. It becomes an afterthought. The only thing different between practice and the game, the cameras and 100,000 people. Yep. Other than that, the football and the intensity is the same. And he told me, I said, man, you done kept this job 20 years. That's impossible. How do you do that? He was like, what's my backup name? I'm like, I don't really know your backup name. He's like, because I never let him play. All right? I don't even let him practice. So there go the thing of it. Like, you got to grab that. That's what Tom was telling them. Grab every day and hold it like it's your last because you don't know when it's going to be there.
Yeah.
NFL stand for not for long. Huh?
That's right.
Yeah.
So one thing Tom mentioned, and this is an interesting question, I think, because social media now is more prevalent than ever.
Yeah.
So I know back when you played, it wasn't as big of a deal, right?
Yeah, it wasn't.
So he was saying, look, it's okay to brand yourself.
Yeah.
That's part of the game now. You want to make that money, but don't focus too much on that because if you do, you get away from the team.
No, and you get away from what matters, what got you here. All right? Everybody's so caught up in this brand. Even when I talk to high school, they like, yeah, I got to get this branding for me. I'm like, man, stop it.
Right.
Like, you can't be a brand unless you go out and perform.
Right.
Perform become before the brand. Let other people build your brand. I always tell people, if you building your brand, you probably a broke business. Yeah. It's just simple as that. Like, you got brand builders. Let them do that. You need to go work. That's what he's telling them. And we've seen this before. Think about it. Quarterbacks like Justin Herbert.
Yes.
Ain't got not one commercial. Nothing. He wanted to build his resume before he did it. Then you got guys like Baker Mayfield. Before he did anything in his league. He got 9 commercials.
Right.
All right, well, guess what? Fell from glory. Now he bounced back. No commercials. You see where he I'm just focused on what I got to do to stay in this league. You see it all the time. Even Pat Mahomes didn't really start doing a lot of commercials till after this year.
That's true. That's true.
Like, so the real greats, they kind of stay away, and they let us build their brand.
Right.
They let the fans build their brand. Like Terry McLaurin. All right? Fans build his brand. You ain't never heard out of Terry. You know what? I need to go get this for the Terry McLaurin car lot over there. Like, no, you don't hear any of that. So I always could tell when guys are more about the game than they are about self.
So how hard would it have been for you?
Yeah, me.
to make it in a social media era like today? Because people love being around you.
Yeah.
They love reaching out to you.
Yeah.
And that would have happened in mass.
I hate to tell you this. I invented Elon's Musk app that he bought, X, formerly known as Twitter.
You invented it.
I invented it in college.
Okay.
All right, this is what happened. I started smoochsmack.com.
Can I just say something real quick?
Yeah. I seen Anna.
So Anna, yes.
I see Anna roll her eyes.
So Anna is our producer. We got a microphone in front of her. We're eventually going to have Anna cam so you can see her reaction because as soon as you said that,
her eyes roll out
I
her
saw
head.
Anna go,
What you got to say about that, Anna?
Hi, everyone. Not much. This is why I'm the producer. I don't have much to say.
No, I'm asking, do you think I invented the first platform for Twitter or not?
N-O.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Let me tell you the story.
Okay.
All right, when I was in school, my junior year, me and one of my classmates, he was like, man, you love talking trash to people. Let's use this thing called the internet.
the information superhighway.
Yeah. And this was in 2000.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, man, let's do this. He's like, you talk trash to everybody. How about we come up with this platform? So I came up with the platform of smoochback.com, where I could go back and forth with whoever I was going to play that week, and they would talk trash to me, and I would talk trash to them.
Brilliant.
Smoochsmack.com went on for like 3-4 years. Is it not this bone skeleton of what X is today?
It is.
It is. And all I had to do, see, if I would have went to Vanderbilt instead of Mississippi State, I would have quit football.
You wouldn't need a football.
I wouldn't have needed football. And I don't know if I would have named it Twitter, but I had the bones for it.
You did.
Before everybody else. Take that, Elon. Take that.
You really did.
I did. That's what I'm telling you, G.
It's just about spinning it and making some tweaks. And then all of a sudden you have a social media.
And that's what, you know how many times I'm like sleep at night and I wake up in a cold sweat? Oh, I'm supposed to be on Twitter. Like, it hunts me. It hunts me that I did not, because I call myself a nerd, that I did not take the time to really make that blossom the way it wanted to be. See, the first thing I did, I shouldn't have named it after myself. I should have named it after an entity. We're going to talk about rebrands later, but I should have named it after an entity like Motor Mouth or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Something that says
Motor
everybody
Mouth.
that like to talk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I should have did that, man.
That's all right. You still did a lot of other great things, so maybe you missed out in this one area, but you hit the jackpot.
But I wasn't going to let it bother me anyway, because I'm one of them people, even on Twitter now, I don't worry about the bad.
Yeah.
I block it.
That's
Say one bad thing to me,
out.
like I don't need you. There's other fans out there. I don't want your negativity in my bubble. Like, I can control my bubble. Now, I can only wonder how would it feel, because social media at the end of my career was starting to pick up.
Yep.
I never paid it no attention, though, but being burnt as a cone on like Monday Night Football and
You can't win.
And waking up Tuesday morning to like, come on, you probably got 200,000 followers at least. You didn't push that ant bed. Now 100,000 that came out, and there's a DB. One day you a hero, the next day you a zero, and that's just how it goes. And I think I would just do a good job of just flushing it out. I would, because I ain't listen to sports talk radio when I played, because I felt like it's never gonna be as good as I think. And it's never as bad as I think.
And you're rarely going to hear anything that you like.
Yeah.
You know?
Like they're going to be taking shots at you. Talking about your shortcomings. And I like, man, you know what? I'm fine that I can do my shortcomings in front of y'all. The question is, do you have the courage to do that? Because most people don't.
Right. It's like an online review.
Yeah.
Because if something great happens, you're like, great, done.
Yeah.
But if something bad happens, you're like, that's it.
Yeah.
People can't wait to go on and say something negative.
They can't wait, and they love it because they're waiting for you to give them negativity back. And I do not transfer bad energy. Now, I get good energy back, but I don't transfer bad energy.
There was a lot of good energy in the NFL draft for this franchise, and actually for most of the franchises in the NFC East. We'll talk about that a little bit. Let's go through each team. We've already recapped the Commanders draft and how excited we are. We're going to talk with an expert about Mikey Sainristil coming up here on the show.
Yeah.
But let's start with the Giants.
Yeah.
And just your general thoughts. They get Malik Neighbors with their first pick in the draft, Tyler Nubin, Andrew Phillips. So they had a pretty nice draft, I feel like.
They filled holes. And I always say the team that goes into the draft, drafting for need, is the team that's going to lose.
Okay.
All right, you look at the successful teams, the Green Bay, the 49ers of the world, they don't draft for need. They draft best player available. on our board, regardless of position. I looked at the Giants, and everything I seen them do was plug and play.
That is true.
Everything I seen them do was, all right, we need this guy, let's go get him. We need this guy, and that ain't ever doing them well. All right, they're just like with the Jets. They were like, all right, we need a tackle, so they go draft Mekhi Becton. It hasn't played yet. Right. So the thing about it is, if your team depends on rookies to win, you're not going to win. Too many variables. Too many variables. Probably not ready. Injury. Probably need 5 weeks to really get more. Like, it's just too many variables. So when I look at the Giants, did they get better at the most important position, quarterback? No, it's still Daniel Jones. All right, did Daniel Jones get a weapon in Malik Neighbors?
Yes.
Yes, but guess what? He has anybody, because Saquon is gone. They have nobody to take the pressure off a rookie. So now if we're a team, all we need to do is stop Malik Neighbors to stop y'all. That's going to be easy.
Because before it was stop
Saquon.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it was. So until the stop sign goes to the quarterback, meaning we got to stop Daniel Jones, it's going to be what it is. But did I think they got better? Oh, yeah, I think they got better. The thing is, how many of these rookies can they depend on to win during the season?
That's true. And I read this stat earlier, is that the Giants have not had a 1,000-yard receiver. They haven't had an 800-yard receiver since, like, OBJ in, like, 2018 or something
Think about I thought Jalen Hyatt, see, they go a rookie. They needed a position last year. They needed wide receiver. They took Jalen Hyatt. Up and down season. Yep. He's a rookie. Look for him to be better this year. He can stretch the field. He can make some things happen. And maybe Darren Waller consider playing in the NFL again. I don't know. Because I feel like he retired 2 years ago and didn't tell anybody anything.
The Giants kind of need the help. Like, I like the draft class, but you make a very interesting point. They definitely did we lost this guy, let's draft a guy. We lost this guy, let's draft a guy.
Yeah. And I just don't – that ain't how you do it unless you plug and play with veterans.
What is the ceiling for Daniel Jones, even with great players around him?
I told you about football name recognition. It's something about a name like John Elway and Joe Montana and Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, Daniel Jones.
Comes out. Hey, Fred, we'll have that transmission fixed for you by the weekend.
Yeah. That's how Daniel Jones come out.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Daniel Jones, I know you're the principal at the high school that my kid go to. Like, every person in the world knows a Daniel Jones. Like, I think special people and special names. Imagine Beyonce name being Lillian.
Oh.
Gertrude.
Instead, you say Queen Bee and you know.
I already know.
Yeah.
Like some people, you don't need to say but their first name. Cher. Ain't nothing else to say.
Yeah. Prince.
Nothing else to say. So name recognition is everything. Daniel Jones. You living up to your name. Regular.
How about the Eagles? I have to admit, I hate giving credit when I don't want to give credit, but their draft was great.
I'm so tired of Roseman.
Listen, guy knows what he's doing, man.
That's when you say, I respect you, but I don't like you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I respect you because each and every year I watch you. He does what I call the Madden draft. He drafts names. Mm-hmm. He want big school guys. He want guys that started off high in the draft and maybe failed a little bit. He wants those guys. And then when you add a Saquon Barkley to an offense that was almost already unstoppable with Swift in the back.
And now he has a line for the first time in his career.
Not only does he have a line, he got a quarterback. Yeah. First of all, he won't be zeroed in on.
Right. You can't just focus on him and the offense is done.
And then you got to ask yourself, not just running the ball, what you going to do when he motions out the backfield and your linebacker is one-on-one with Saquon Barkley? He's going to get beat. All right? Now the question is, I don't think, kudos to Harold Roseman, y'all got the troops. The question is, do they got the generals? All right, because we watched them take a step back last year because of coaching. One head coach is coaching at the Arizona Cardinals, the other one at the Colts. Both sides of the ball went backwards last year. Can they pick it back up? Because I think they do got two good coordinators, but it takes time. Yep. It takes time. Are they on the same clock is the question. But do they have the players? I hate Philadelphia. I hate to say this. The city with Rocky, a statue of a man that don't exist. Yes, they are, to me, the top of the class of the division right now.
Quinion Mitchell, great cornerback. And then we were at the draft party for the Commanders.
Yeah.
And when we saw Cooper DeJean's name, we were like, don't get Cooper DeJean. Yeah. And boom.
They got him. They fixed what was weak last year for them. Secondary.
Yep.
Where they got baby youthful. They got the best corner and pretty much the best safety in the draft. All right. So, I can't hate. I can't hate. I want to hate so bad.
I know. You get a little bit here.
Yeah.
Cowboys. So the Cowboys get Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma.
No. Let me tell you something
He's
about
raw.
Tyler Guyton.
Okay.
I studied this kid. I wanted him so bad.
Did you really?
He used to play tailback, Jinx.
He did?
The dude,
This cat?
have you ever watched him play basketball? This dude is a athlete.
Because he has like 14 career starts. Like he's just growing in his position.
He's just a man child. He's a coach's dream.
Okay.
The one thing about guys that ain't played a lot of football, they ain't got no bad habits. They ain't been playing long enough to collect them. That means you got clean slate protocol. So now I need to put your athletic score and not worried about your mental score right now, because I get to build your mental up. Well, his athletic score is through the roof. I told you he used to play running back.
Yep.
That says it all. He ran under a 4.940. This dude,
Damn.
at 340, listen to me, a beast. Yes, he might start out slow because he's still learning the position. But once he anchors in, you're talking about the next 12 years, they got to do
Yeah. So when you think about the Cowboys, and everybody's been giving Jerry Jones a hard time, like he said, we're all in 2024. We're all in. They didn't do a lot in free agency.
They have to.
That's what I was going to say.
The roster
Did they
is
need
locked.
to or not?
What do they need to get? Think about this. Deron Bland led the league in interceptions last year and touchdowns, and he started for Trayvon Diggs.
This is after Diggs got injured.
And guess what? So now you got the interception leader from the year before and the interception leader from the year before that on the both teams. All right, when they helped. Didn't need no defensive backs. All right, linebackers. I still got Michael Parsons and a couple guys. I think they did sign one veteran. Defensive line solidified. All right, the only thing, we talked about offensive line. They lost Terrence Smith, lost Guyton, plug and play. Let's go. They brought Zeke back. All right, we know they couldn't run between the trenches last year.
Yeah.
All right, what did they need to add anything to their receiving core, the tight end? No, this was a team ready to bake. The best teams in the NFL do not depend on the draft. What more can I tell you? Like, the draft is a plus. If we get two players out of here that contribute to the team, so be it. The draft is for the future, not for now. So I'm not mad that they didn't go sign no free agents. I'm not mad that they didn't care who they drafted. They roster is ready made. The question is right now, and I hate to put this in my bulldog brother in lap.
Here it comes. Okay.
Can Dak win the big game?
Can he?
And I don't know if it's the other positions. I can't give you a better roster. Like, if I'm Jerry Jones, I'm looking Dak in the face. For what you make, I cannot give you a better roster. This is the best you're going to get. Can you make that one or two play in them playoff games to get us over the hump? He hasn't proven that he can. Right now, if you asked anybody, which quarterback you trust in the NFC East right now, they'll be like Jalen Hurts. Over that Prescott.
It's got to be a mental thing, right? Or is there some sort of tool that he's missing in his quarterback toolbox where there's one thing that he lacks and it really affects him in the postseason?
No, I just think he's more potent as a runner than he gives himself credit for.
Okay.
He ran himself to the NFL from Mississippi State.
Okay.
And all of a sudden now he's a pocket passer. Now, I understand the year he got hurt, the year coming back from, and I'm not going to run that much. I think last year he started to use them legs more and you get 3 cheap first downs with your legs, you won this game. I want him to use his legs more. He's my bulldog brother, just not against Washington.
No, I hear you. Because Cowboys aside, Dak is a really
good
likable guy.
I love him. Great person. I just can't say great player yet.
No?
He hasn't made any great plays when it count.
We're hoping we see a lot of great players coming out of this rookie class for the Commanders. We're going to talk to an expert about it. But before we get to that, let's pay the bills real quick.
Pay them bills.
Pay them bills. With Recycle Track Systems, transforming the way that commercial businesses and communities manage waste and recycling, combining the power of AI with premium customer service to optimize waste pickup schedules, ensuring timely and efficient collections to keep our neighborhoods cleaner and
greener.
How? Visit RTS.com to learn more about how they can help your business manage waste more responsibly. We're excited about a lot of rookies here on the show. But Mike Sainristil.
Hey, listen, I love him because you know what? The day after we draft him, he jumped in my DM.
Did he?
Yeah, man. He's showing love to the veteran, to the OGs.
Smart.
And we introduced ourselves to each other. I couldn't wait to see him. Then when he came into the building, I got a chance to meet him. My type of guy. You know, DB, we see eye to eye. It's a different world as a defensive back. So I'm really intrigued by what he brings to the table.
I want to hear your insight. We can get more insight from Isaiah Hull. He is the publisher of Wolverines Wire, a Michigan beat reporter. He joins us now here on the pod. And Isaiah, first of all, thanks for being with us. Second of all, what is it that makes Mike so special? He can do a little bit of everything, but the last couple seasons, he was unbelievable at Michigan.
Well, really, ultimately, it starts with his leadership, because he was one of the guys that when people talk about Michigan's kind of turnaround, now Michigan didn't completely fall off. It just had really one bad year. It was 2020, the COVID year. But it went from being a decent team to a bad team to a great team. And everyone always talks about Aiden Hutchinson as being the guy who turned things around. But Mikey Sainristil was one of those guys who was actually pivotal. He was leading those player-led meetings. He got everyone on the same page, and that was when he was a wide receiver. He wasn't exactly a productive player at that time, but he exudes leadership. And I think that is one of the things. Like he's a guy that people galvanize around, and then he leads by example as well. He's a guy that was always in the weight room. He doesn't look like a big guy, but at the same time, like he was a leader in that weight room. And then his play on the field, when he finally got his opportunity, you saw when he switched over from wide receiver to defensive back, everyone just saw a guy that was just working harder than everyone else. And with that, I mean, he really kind of set the stage and set the example for what all these other players need to do. I can tell you this: out of everyone that Michigan is losing to the NFL this offseason, while people would probably pick J.J. McCarthy number one because he's a quarterback, that's a one of one. If you could say you could keep any one non-quarterback position for the next year or for the foreseeable, everyone would say Mikey Sainristil. And how often do you hear that about a nickelback? So he's a fan favorite. He ingratiated himself extremely well to the fan base, and in a large part, it was because of his leadership. Everyone knew that he was the guy leading the charge for the defense, really, the last couple of years for Michigan.
That's something I love to hear. And you talked about something earlier in that conversation. I always judge players not by their success, but by their failures. And you got a chance to watch him not kind of blossom at wide receiver and be what he wanted to be at the wide receiver. Did you ever have a conversation with him during that time when he was going through, should I trade positions? Should I stay at wide receiver? You know, I always like to see what was going on in the athlete's head when that uncertainty is hanging over their head.
I'm sure we have probably had that conversation. I can't recall exactly, but it's the thing about it is when he came in as a wide receiver, and keep in mind he was a 3-star. He was originally committed to Virginia Tech as a defensive back, and he flipped late to Michigan, and he had early enrolled, and he was a hype beast coming in, and that's pretty rare for a 3-star. So all that entire spring of 2019. All we were hearing was Mikey Sainristil catches everything that's thrown at him. He's got these incredible hands. He's an insane route runner. He can do just about everything that you want. He's going to be an instant impact guy in this class. And Michigan fans were a lot more excited about another wide receiver in the class named Giles Jackson, who ended up transferring to Washington. But with all the hype that Giles Jackson had for such a long time, being a higher rated 4-star, the speedster, all spring and into the summer and the fall camp, it was Mikey Sainristil. And then he really didn't see him, right? Like and that was kind of the case for the next couple of years. Yeah, he'd have a big play here and there. In 2021, he laid out for a really impressive catch against Nebraska. He had a touchdown against Michigan State in the loss that year. But his perseverance, it wasn't ever like a mention of, you should switch positions, Mikey. It was kind of like the staff and him behind closed doors going into 2022 is like, why don't we try this out? Because Jim Harbaugh always had kind of a penchant for being able to see a guy that could play on the other side of the ball one way or the other. He did it with Richard Sherman when he was at Stanford. Yep. And obviously it's similar results here. Like that's one of the things that he's kind of been known for. So all of that kind of happened behind closed doors. Yeah, Mikey was definitely frustrated. He definitely wasn't feeling like he was living up to the potential, and you could sense a little bit of that frustration, but it was never like man, you're really failing, you really need to figure it out. He was always kind of like whatever the team needs me to do to help, that's what I'll do. And one of the things that he would say to us in the media constantly is if they ask me to play nose tackle, I'll do it. Like that's the type of mentality he had. It was never like a what can I do to maximize my own capability. It was whatever the team needs. If they need me to play nose tackle, if they need me to play center, if they need me to play quarterback, I will do any of those things. And I might not know much about it, but I'll figure it out. And that always has been his mentality. And that's why it was not terribly surprising to see that he had the type of success he had once he switched over to the defensive side of the ball.
Isaiah, he has all sorts of individual athletic traits, but one of the best compliments I think you can give to a defender is he is always around the football. And Mike Sainristil is always around the football.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those things in the Rose Bowl when things were kind of on the line. I'm on the sidelines because I'm a photographer, and I laughed with another photographer. We said, all right, well, it's about time for the patented Mikey Sainristil turnover of the game to happen, because that's like what you expected. You expected that if things were kind of going dire, he was going to find a way to get to the football. You saw it in the Maryland game. Michigan's defense did not have the best day. It was tied for their worst game all season long as far as points allowed. And you would think, oh, Alabama, Washington, one of those teams. Nope, it was Maryland. But every time that Maryland had the ball in their hands and was trying to drive the field with a chance to tie the game, Mikey Sainristil both times comes down with an interception. You look at the Ohio State game, he makes a big hit on this past year on Travion Henderson. You look the year before, he makes the game-saving play. I mean, Michigan was up and everything, but Ohio State with an opportunity to get within striking distance throws what looks to be a surefire touchdown to Cade Stover, the big tight end. And out of nowhere, Mikey Sainristil comes and knocks the ball away, running from the other side of the field. He's just got that knack, and then he's the one who ended up calling game against Washington in the national championship game. Washington with that opportunity to get within striking distance. You got Michael Penix looking for his one of his talented wideouts, and Mikey Sainristil jumps in front of the ball and takes it back almost the whole way. That's just kind of who he is. He's going to make that big game-changing play. He did it on almost every single game last year. It was really impressive how much you just felt like, all right, well, the game, maybe feels a little bit dicey here for a second. Then Mikey Sainristil steps in and makes that big play.
And I think that, speaking of that, I think that has a lot to do with the people that's been around him. And when I think about him, when I watched him, I was like, he reminds me of a faster, come on, Tampa Bay,
Rondé Barber.
Oh. He reminded me of a faster Rondé Barber, Dre Bly, somebody that the ball finds them. Yep. Even like D. Hall, where the balls find them, they magnetically attracted to the ball. Now I got to ask you this. With him having Jim Harbaugh, a pro coach that went to college that's back in the pros, with him having Mike McDonald, defensive coordinator that's a pro coach that's in the pros now, how much do you think that's going to help him hit the ground running when it comes to the pros?
I think it's going to help. Excuse me. I think it's going to help immensely, right? Michigan ran a pro-style program.
Yeah,
I've often heard of that when a lot of these players arrive for their NFL mini camps and everything, that Michigan players are ahead of the curve because they know exactly what is supposed to happen on a day-to-day basis. They're not wide-eyed and everything because when they get there, that every single part of what Michigan did was done in an NFL fashion. It was done in the same scheduling, the same style, right? So they come in with just kind of the already having a pretty good idea of here's what I need to do. And I think that the best place that you can see that happen is not necessarily in the high end guys that end up going in the NFL. It's a lot of those guys who go undrafted that end up making rosters. Like, Sean McCune, who was with the Cowboys, just got signed with the Lions. You look at Josh Metellus, who was undrafted by the Vikings, was a free agent by the Vikings, and then he's a team captain there now. Yeah. So I think that actually speaks to it, and I think it certainly helps for the Commanders' cause that you get a guy that was kind of the leader of the program. I think that they're out of everyone that was in that room, everyone that was in Schembechler Hall. It could be Blake Corum, could be J.J. McCarthy. It kind of doesn't really matter who. I think that Mikey Sainristil is the most NFL-esque guy in the terms of he's the biggest leader. He's the one that exudes the confidence. He's the example. He's teachable, but also helps bring other guys along. Like he was always a guy that you'd hear younger defensive backs, younger wide receivers when he was a receiver, even though he wasn't necessarily a stat monster out there, that he was helping bring other guys along. So he knows like the whole ropes, what you do on a daily basis, what you do with your teammates, how you interact with your teammates, how you interact with your coaches, how it all kind of works. And I think that he learned a lot of that, obviously, from Jim Harbaugh and his other coaches, and being able to be in those NFL systems. And certainly it's going to help having been in an NFL defense the last several years, right? Like he wasn't in the Mike McDonald defense, but he was with Jesse Minter the following years when he switched over. So, like, having been with Jesse Minter, who's obviously now the Chargers defensive coordinator, who's running Wink Martindale's system from both the Ravens and the Giants, I mean, that's just going to be a huge help for him as far as it comes to acclimating.
I think you heard the quote from Nick Saban where he said, pound for pound, this is the best player in
college
football.
Yeah.
Is he right?
I mean, I think he's the type of guy that can do just about anything that you ask him to. I mean, he always kind of clamored to move back to receiver just for like a series or two as well. I mean, he can do those things. I think the highest praise isn't necessarily from Nick Saban. It comes courtesy of Jalen McMillan, the wide receiver for Washington, who went in this past draft. He was asked at the combine, who, out of everyone that you have faced in your college career, who's the one that troubled you the most? And he's like, it was Mikey Sainristil. He's like, that guy pissed me off. Like, it's like he knew everything that we were going to try to do, and I couldn't really do anything about it. And I think that's the benefit when you have a guy that also understands what the route trees look like, has had that experience in being a wide receiver, is that he's going to go up against a lot of wide receivers, and they're going to get really frustrated because he knows all of their tactics to try to get open. He knows, has a pretty good idea of what their routes look like. He's not going to get fooled too much by the types of things that they're going to do. I mean, you saw that in that national championship game against McMillan in particular. There was a moment where it was third down, and it was like third and I think like 7 or something like that. They have this little screen pass, and they get it to McMillan in open space. He's just got to shake one guy. Unfortunately for him, the guy was Mikey Sainristil, who wraps him up and makes this devastating open field tackle, just completely takes him down. And it's one of those things where you look at that technique and it's like, yeah, it's hard to really say that a guy can be better than that. But on top of that, right position, didn't fall for any kind of moves that McMillan was trying to make to shake him. Because I think that you look in probably 75% of the time, McMillan at least gets a couple yards out of that. But no, he went down right where he got it. So that kind of tells you how technically sound, how smart, and how physical Mikey Sainristil is.
Well, some people would say the golden age of the Wolverines might be over with J.J. McCarthy, the savior leaving, Blake Corum gone, and Mikey Sainristil. And we got a lot of Washington fans that, they college fans of the Wolverines. Is it over right now? Because Jim Harbaugh is gone. And Ohio State is packing them in. Is it over right now for Michigan, or is this just the beginning?
I wouldn't say it's over. Obviously, the Big Ten expanding is going to complicate things. Michigan's schedule gets a lot more difficult. Texas comes to the Big House as part of a non-conference slate. Right now, I look at it and I say, who's the quarterback? Right now, I would slate Alex Orji, who's a kind of very similar to Jalen Milroe at Alabama. He actually was the scout team, Jalen Milroe, in preparation for the Rose Bowl. But we haven't really seen him except for he would come in and run like a quick Wildcat package almost every game last year. If they can figure out the quarterback, and I still feel like maybe they need to add another receiver or two from the transfer portal if they can find a good one. I mean, there's no reason why they can't be really good and maybe even championship caliber. There's maybe 4 or 5 guys who could be first-round draft picks from this team next year. You look at Colston Loveland, who's the best tight end in the country. You look at Will Johnson, who might be the best cornerback in the country. You've got Mason Graham, who's the best defensive tackle in the country. who's the maybe second or third best defensive tackle in the country? Oh, it's the guy that's right next to him, in Kenneth Grant. And then you've got a guy like Jayshon Barham, who was from your backyard, went to St. Francis Academy in Baltimore, and then he ended up being at Maryland for 2 years. He transfers over, and they feel internally like we just got ourselves another first-round pick. They've got a ton of talent from front to back on the defense. I mean, it is solid. They've really bolstered their talent in the secondary. I don't know that anyone's going to make up for what Sainristil was able to do, but they feel really good about Zeke Berry. So offensively is kind of where the questions lie. But they still have Donovan Edwards, who you've seen have big plays against Ohio State and Penn State and in the national championship game. They like I mentioned, Colston Loveland, the offensive line should still be among the best in the Big Ten. So I don't think it's necessarily going to be a big fall off if they do fall off, but there is certainly an opportunity for them to make a playoff run again, assuming they find that quarterback.
He is Isaiah Hull, the publisher of Wolverines Wire and Michigan Beat reporter, and he's got Zuri helping him out today as well.
Yes, she was wonderful. We got her to stay quiet the whole time. She was wonderful.
He's a good girl. Isaiah, thank you.
That's my pleasure.
Great interview. Let us know about what we got in that young Wolverine.
Yeah.
But guess what? The Get Loud podcast is brought to you by Bet365, the official sporting bets partner of the Washington Commanders. Bet on a range of NFL markets with Bet365 app. Craft your own personalized bet slip with parlay. Access thousands of games with live streaming. Place your bet before the match or during the game. It's really up to you. Download the Bet365 app today and join 80 million members worldwide. Age 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Virginia. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. MWAA. We don't travel to escape life. We travel so life don't escape us. We could dream of anywhere in the world, and in the blink of an eye, we're there. That's the wonder of flight. All you had to do is decide where to. All right? Dulles International Airport. Let your imagination soar. Book your adventure today at flydulles.com/nonstop.
Beautiful, my man.
Oh, yeah, I should have went to Indiana.
We have to pay tribute to a legend here on the show.
Why not?
This is when we talk about whatever we want to talk about.
Yep.
Kobayashi.
Do people remember him? Because Joey Chestnut, that's the only person they remember right now.
It's like saying, I remember Tom Brady, but I don't remember Joe Montana.
Montana.
Let me tell you something. Before there was Joey Chestnut,
Yeah.
there was Kobayashi.
Yes, he was.
The 6-time mustard belt champion. He's giving up the sport. He's retiring. And now he says, it's crazy, he has to repair his brain and gut because he's done some damage, which is not shocking, but also he can't smell food anymore, doesn't get hungry.
Well, first of all, you shouldn't be able to smell food no more. You ate it as a sport. First of all, let's tell you how gluttonous we are on this earth.
Yes.
When you turn eating into a sport. Right? I've always looked at it like you're not really like me, athletic-wise.
Yes.
And they say, no, we are athletes. And I was like,
They believe they're athletes.
But how would you, like, if I'm going home and my girl want to introduce me to her father, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm a pro. And he'd be like, okay, you're a pro what? I'm a pro eater.
Takes a special woman.
He'll be like, you gotta dish this loser. All right, listen, I'm a pro eater. I eat for a living. That's what I do. And now, because I've eaten so much while people out here are hungry, I have to repair my gut, butt, and brain. All right? Because I've eaten so much. All right? What happens to the I want them to do a detail on Netflix or something. On what the next 5 days after the eating contest looks like. I want to know.
You don't want to see
because I'm an athlete and I want to know because I know how I feel after the game. And I know how we just body aches, soul aches, mind aches.
Their body has to be wrecked. Also, I talked to Joey Chestnut one time. I interviewed him a few years ago. And surprisingly, because you would think you just eat whatever you want. And he was like, no. He said, I have one cheat meal a week. The rest of the time, he's super regimented.
Yeah.
Because this is what he does. This is his life.
You an eater.
It's not like on the weekends, I eat a lot of hot dogs. Like, he does this all the time.
I'm a sommelier. I like wine.
Okay.
All right. I go around the world and drink wine. But I don't do it in a contest. All right? That's called a bar. That's called a local bar.
Yes.
That's a drinking contest. All right? Eating. How do I supposed to, like, tell my kids, you know what? You'll never get nowhere in this life without hard work and dedication. But, Dad, you're a pro eater. Hard work and dedication.
Do as I say, not as I do. All right, son?
Like, how do you rebound from that? My kid probably look at this dude eat for a living. Like, you're nothing.
Hey, I'm 3-0 lifetime in eating contests. Not professional.
What was the eating contest?
I had 2 hot dog eating contests, 1 Oreo eating contest.
They call it glizzies these days.
Yeah, they do. So let me ask you, if there was one food, right, you haven't eaten in 24 hours, you're like, I'm starving, here's an eating contest, what's the one food you would choose where you think you could win?
Like I brought this up and Anna almost threw up earlier. Devilish eggs.
Ooh,
I like my eggs devilish.
Woo.
I like my eggs devilish. I could do a wing eating contest. I have done one with spicy wings.
How'd it go?
Didn't go well for me. I am a Southerner, and we love spicy food.
Mm-hmm.
I can eat it. But after you go wing for wing for wing,
Yeah.
and then I was foolish enough to grab the milk.
Oh.
I had a milk mustache, but cotton mouth. I could not continue to eat in this eating contest, and I felt gluttonous afterwards. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
I just played around with like 63 wings, and I left meat on them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And you're like, man, I could have enjoyed this.
shame on me. So I don't know. Like, I think we should do a Netflix documentary on him and see what like. Do you turn after you retire from eating? Do you just say, you know what, I'm a vegetarian?
Well, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Anna.
What determines one complete wing?
They have judges for that.
Yeah, I first say that.
Yeah.
And I will say, Jenks has a pretty great story about wings.
Oh, God, yes. Oh.
That's how you know.
Tell us.
Okay, so I have a friend of mine, and he loves wings, but if he saw a wing unfinished,
He would eat it. Yeah, you
yes,
told me about
yes,
it.
and I'm not talking about a wing untouched. I'm talking about a wing.
Pre-ate wing.
Yes. And he'd be like, come on, man. And he'd grab it. And so I was like, man, you know, like, I don't know if I would do that. But I remember once he was dating a girl. We were all out together. We were watching football. We had wings. And I got some wings left over my plate.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know she's never seen this.
Yeah.
And so I just waited.
You set him up.
I mean, he loves wings. I love wings.
So you bit a wing and just
So
set it
I
there.
was like, I'm getting stuffed, man. Just pushed over a little bit. And so finally, and this is one of my close friends, one of the best people
Is
you
his
ever meet.
nickname Landfill?
It's not.
It should be.
And he, fantastic human being, but I see him go, James, come on, man. Grabs it.
You knew it.
And as soon as he put it in his mouth, his girlfriend, she goes, oh!
How could you?
Oh, she like, yeah, what are you doing? And I was just like, well, you
That's
guys
the
have a
end of that
discussion to have.
relationship.
It was
Listen.
incredible.
Hey,
Incredible.
listen, his nickname is Landfill.
Oh.
That's what we call him from now on. Because if you can do that, imagine going up there saying, I like mine pre-ate. Oh, just a little bit.
I like somebody to soften them up for me.
Yeah, that's just a little bit. Yeah, that's just a little bit. All right. No wonder who had that. No, we're not going to worry about that.
Let's pay some bills and then we're going to finish strong here on the show. Oh, I need a break after that.
Retired eaters.
Woo! Have we talked about SeatGeek? Come on.
Come on now.
It's official. SeatGeek, the official ticketing partner of your Washington Commanders. The deal is finalized there. The newest member of the Commanders family. Got a great family here in Ashburn. If you haven't heard the name yet, get used to it. You will hear it all year long, whether you're buying or selling tickets to Commanders games, any event in the DMV. SeatGeek is the place to do it, the new official ticketing partner of the Washington Commanders, so Commanders fans can fan.
Fan.
What do you want to talk about? Because we were talking about athletes and ads.
We brought up our favorite athlete commercials of all time because I was sitting, you know, YouTube is my favorite best friend, and I was just going through there and I seen this commercial for the Michael Vick experience. And see, I'm classmates with Mike, so we came out together.
Okay.
And they had that commercial when the dude get into the thing like a roller coaster ride.
Right.
And then they just drop in the middle of a football game and they doing this and they doing this. And then you got Mike popping up as a hologram telling them, sit back, enjoy the ride. Take it in.
Right.
So it was like, I was like, wow, that was before its time.
Yes.
That commercial right now is 23 years old.
God, it makes me feel old.
You are. Like 23 years old, the commercial is. And I was like, that commercial looks good today. I don't know if any commercial today have a commercial that good. All right, Mahomes in my auto. I like it.
It's cute,
but it ain't the Michael Vick experience.
No.
It ain't that commercial. So we started to go through commercials, and we both found one. Now, we're going to keep Michael Jordan out of this.
Like Mike, we know it. It's a classic.
The world knows it.
Yes.
All right, nobody's going to compare to it. He's the GOAT. All right, that's what it is. Mike over here, everybody else over here. Now, I brought up Charles Barkley.
Love Chuck.
Because Chuck said, you know what? Why everybody out here, I am the best person in the world. Chuck switched it all around and comes with, hey, check this out. Buy my shoes. I ain't your role model. You should not look up to me. I gamble a lot. I do a lot. I am a flawed human being. Buy my shoes, but I ain't your role model. Mm-hmm. I thought that was the best.
I loved it. They got roasted, the NBA on TNT crew, which is going away, by the way.
I'm
so sad about that.
No, they're going to have to.
They have to.
They have to put them back together. Like, you'll be a fool not to put them back together. Like, you'll be a fool. It's one of the best, if not the best.
Oh, no question. Best studio show on TV.
Yeah.
And has been for a long time.
Yeah.
I think it was Jeff Ross, the roast master. And he was roasting the NBA on TNT crew a few years ago now. And he was roasting Kenny Smith. He goes, Kenny Smith, that sounds like a name that Charles Barkley would get to an officer after he got pulled over. My name's Kenny Smith. I'm not Charles, I'm Kenny Smith.
I could never be Kenny Smith. Hey, that's why I love those guys. All right, I love Charles Barkley commercial, but I think people forget about Bo Nose.
Oh, that was one of the greats.
They forget about Bo Nose and him showing up in the baseball and then the football and then just people forget about Bo Jackson in the big scheme of things. One of the greatest athletes of all time.
Oh, yes.
Bo, he just quietly lives his life, and that's why I love him. Him, Barry Sanders, I like guys that are non-Herschel Walker. I love those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely.
It's like the whole, if you know, you know.
Yeah, if you know, you know.
I mean, come on.
All right, and Lil Penny. A lot of people don't remember Lit Penny.
Yes.
Hey, first of all, I love Penny Hardaway and Shaq when they was with the Orlando Magic.
So good.
I love those shoes. Those shoes are still selling today.
Oh, they really?
I'll never forget I came home. My mama had bought me a fresh pair of Penny Hardaways. You know, when you're a child, you just set them up on the dress. Oh, they had that glow around them. I wore them to school, went to football practice in high school, came back to my locker. They were stolen.
Really? Oh,
listen, they were stolen. I turned into Inspector Gadget. I went all around the school. Who got my shoes? Who got my shoes? To the point that my mom was like, boy, I'll buy you another pair of shoes. Don't you worry about that. I was like, nah, you spent your hard-earned money on that, and somebody just took my Penny Hardaways. And until that day, I didn't buy another pair of pennies until I could buy my own in college. That's when I bought another pair of Penny Hardaways.
Did you really?
Yeah, but I loved my Penny Hardaways. I loved them to death, all right? Really did. Now, also, who else I got? I love the Heisman House.
Heisman, and then they can keep it going, too.
Forever. But it's also old meets new.
Yes.
That's why I enjoy it. I enjoy seeing, that's one of the few commercials I love to see Baker on. I love to see all the guys, RG3 on him. He's very good in those things. I love to see those guys with the Heisman commercial, but you need to go and bring Cam Newton and the rest of the guys back. You know, I love to see Charles Woodson on. He's the only defensive player in there. You know, thank you, Charles, for representing us in there. But at the end of the day, I love the Heisman House. Any for you?
Ooh, I'm trying to think of more recent ones because the old one I came up with, and every now and then I'll find it online and it gets pulled away, is Earl Campbell. Because the funny thing about Earl Campbell is he's a country boy.
No, I understand.
Like, he's
Texas
country.
Man. Yeah.
And so he's like, this is for Skull.
Yeah.
And so he's like on a beach and there's a football that gets loose and some girls look at him and he walks away and he's got some Skull.
Dipping that Skull.
Dipping some Skull.
And then he
turns
spits on the sand.
He turns around like he's got it all and he just goes, Skull, brother. Like, that's all you had to say? It's amazing.
That's it.
That's it. And he just smiles and walks off. And I was like, that's the most baller thing I've ever seen.
Hey, listen, they wouldn't understand that guys used to smoke cigarettes on the sideline during halftime.
Like at halftime, be like, I need a heater.
Hey,
you do?
By the way, anybody got a Virginia Slim? Menthol? And go to that drink machine and get me a Coke. That's what it was at the time. Anything else you got?
One more thing. Comment of the week. Make sure you get in the comments.
And leave us anything.
Leave us whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can talk about the show, question you want to ask, because we have a question posed to Smoot from Commanders99, one of our consistent and loyal viewers. We appreciate
Thank you,
that.
Commander99.
He says, when you came back to Washington and Sean Taylor had number 21,
did
you joke around with Sean to get your number back?
Well, I remember when I was finna leave, he was Sean was real pissed at me. And I was like, man, it's a business, man. I got to go handle this business. He was like, I'm going to put this 21 on. I'm going to switch my number. I like, oh, you going to put that deuce 1 on? He like, yeah, I'm going to put that 1 on, deuce 1 on for you. I like, all right. I say, I'm going to put it on in Minnesota. We'll match it.
I love that.
So, me and him always kept in touch. We always keep in touch. So I hit him before anybody, like, hey, nobody knows, but I'm coming back. Like, I already talked to Coach Gibbs. I talked to the owner over here. I'm finna get traded back over there. He like, hey, you want your 21 back? And I'm like, dude, you went to the Pro Bowl in that number. Like, what are you talking about? He like, no, man, get that 21 back. I put that 27 on. I either put that 3.6 on. Back on. I like, man, keep the 21. I'm gonna put the 3.6 on. Like, I was supposed to put 36 on.
Oh, really?
So then we would have did a true number swap. Like, so people would have got to see me in 21 and him in 36. Then they would got to see him in 21 and me in 36. Then somebody had 36 when I made it back, and that's when I put 27 on. So he tried to give me the number back. Like, very much tried to give me the number back. I just feel like I feel like his identity was in that number now.
Yeah, he'd already solidified himself.
To me, he was the best safety. Him and Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu, best 3 safeties in football at that time. I was like, nah, man, keep that 21 on. Let's go out here and handle this business. All right, don't worry about the number. I'll find a number. But I wish we could have wore single digits at the time because I would have put my 2 on. I would have put the college number back on. I would have put the deuce on instead of getting back in the 21. But yes, Commander, he did try to give me the number back. I gladly turned it down. I just thought he had accomplished too much in it.
Man, that's a great Sean story. A great way to end this pod.
Yeah.
It is Get Loud Podcast presented by SeatGeek. That's Smoot. I'm Jinx. Thanks for tuning in. Get in the comments. Let us know what you think. Have a great week.
Get loud.